Hey, how's it going out there? Welcome to the first episode of Wrestling Country. I'm your host, Alan Smith. I recently decided to change the name of my show from Turnbuckle Talk to Wrestling Country with the KO because Turnbuckle Talk to me sounded a little bit too corny. So, alright, let's dive right in and I'm going to talk about Raw, give my weekly recap of Raw, SmackDown, talk about, some of the superstars, and talk about the Royal Rumble coming up in the end of this month. And so let's just start off with Raw here. Raw has some decent matches. I think Raw as a whole this Monday was actually a very great show. We had great matches, obviously, as I said. Cesaro versus Anderson was one that comes to mind. I thought from start to finish, that one was actually a really good match. Cesaro showed out. He showcased, obviously, what we all know he can do in the ring. I absolutely love watching Cesaro in the ring. And against someone kind of like his style in Carl Anderson, that was a good match. Carl Anderson got the win, and I actually like that. Because not only does that give the club some momentum that we really thought they needed a while ago, because we thought by now they'd definitely at least have one tag title run, but this definitely gives the club some momentum to carry forward, and they'll definitely start a feud between Cesaro and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I think that's a great feud. It has a lot of potential. Obviously, we've seen the Cesaro and Anderson match and what those two could do in the ring, and that right there was a great match. So I think you add this whole feud, and you're probably going to have a face turn from Sheamus eventually. It's coming. So I think these two would make a great feud, and at WrestleMania, they could probably be one of the better matches, maybe. The first match on Raw was between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and it was a predictable match. Kevin Owens got the count out. He counted himself out. He walked away. Obviously we weren't going to see any Triple H coming out, or, none of that. But Seth Rollins, right now he doesn't have anything planned for him at the Royal Rumble. I think personally that he will be in the Royal Rumble, and maybe when he's in the Royal Rumble, Triple H will make a surprise appearance and eliminate him from the Rumble. Maybe Triple H won't even be in the Rumble, but he'll make his way out into the ring, and then he'll throw Rollins over the top ropes. And then obviously, no matter if the person is in the match or not, if you're thrown over the top rope, you are out. There's many ways that this could go. Maybe Seth Rollins eventually does get a match at Royal Rumble, but I don't know who he would go up against yet. I do not think that they would have Rollins versus Triple H at the Royal Rumble. Triple H versus Seth Rollins is a big time match, and that has to be a WrestleMania match. And Triple H will definitely put over Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins will probably be the top babyface going in the rest of 2017. Because we're definitely not going to see Triple H versus Seth Rollins at Royal Rumble. And next, a great match that I thought going into wouldn't be as good as it really was. And that's Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn in that last man standing match. That I was absolutely blown away by that match. There was a lot of people on Twitter, social media that were really high on this match as well. I loved the match from start to finish, to be honest. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, both wrestling fans, obviously, and he thinks that this whole Zayn being fed to Strowman thing is actually burying Zayn, and I don't think that's the case at all. You got Strowman, who's being built up as this absolute monster, and you got Zayn, who is the underdog from the underground. I mean, it's the perfect feud, I think, and they both complemented each other so well in the last man standing match that they both looked strong coming out of it, because Zayn put Strowman through a table. Strowman got up, oh my God, he's a monster. He's tough. He can endure all that pain and, whatever. And then Zayn kept getting up, had that fighting spirit, that underdog's mentality, and he kept going. And I think that ultimately this feud was a win-win for both superstars. I think Zayn has a great 2017. I do not think WWE will waste his talent this year like they did in 2016, because Sami Zayn, honestly, to me, should be the number one babyface on the roster. And I think he has so much potential. He can cut outstanding promos. You've seen that with him and Mick Foley a couple weeks back or months ago when he wanted Strowman and Foley wouldn't give it to him. They're going to trade him or whatever. Sami Zayn has it all. He has it. He is a top babyface. He's a lovable guy, a relatable character he just has that normal, average Joe feel and the crowd will completely connect with that, and Zayn could definitely be a top babyface in 2017. He is my pick to win the Money in the Bank for Raw, and I know that's far away, but there's just my gut feeling right now that's telling me Zayn is going to have an outstanding 2017. Obviously, to close the show, they had the Kevin Owens show. Jericho, who had a United States title match with Reigns, actually. In that match, I honestly thought Owens would help Jericho get the win over Reigns, especially when they said, even if Reigns gets disqualified, that Jericho would win the title. So I thought for sure, how weeks back when Jericho hit Kevin Owens, the code breaker, to get the disqualification, I thought for sure Kevin Owens was going to do the same thing for Jericho and give him the title. And I think putting the U.S. title on Jericho is probably the smartest idea WWE can roll with, because Jericho is one of the biggest superstars in the business right now, and obviously of all time, but right now he has had one of his biggest runs in all of his career. And I think with his ability to communicate with the crowd and work a crowd right now, and how many people are cheering for him and the list and all that, I think right now is prime time to make Chris Jericho the United States champion. And I know he has the triple threat match coming tomorrow on Monday Night Raw, with him, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns, and I honest to God hope that Chris Jericho gets the U.S. title, because we all know Roman Reigns is going to win the Universal title at Royal Rumble. So take the U.S. title off of Roman, give it to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho will do wonders, and he can put over. Chris Jericho is a guy that put over so many up and coming stars. I mean, he put over Fandango at WrestleMania, and since then they have totally dropped the ball with him. But that's another story. But Chris Jericho loves putting guys over. He just loves working with new talent. And if you make Chris Jericho U.S. champion, he could put over so many young guys that you can call up, like even Sami Zayn and Chris Jericho. That could be something very, very special. You're not going to have Sami Zayn beat Roman Reigns, because we all know Roman Reigns is Vince's top guy. So you're not going to have a top guy put over newer talent. I mean, Chris Jericho is a top guy. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying Chris Jericho loves putting over talent. And I think the best way to do that is to have Chris Jericho as United States champion, give him a few title defenses, let him build it up, and then put over a new talent, put over a younger talent like Sami Zayn or some more NXT guys, or even other superstars that Vince McMahon finds. The last thing on Raw that I actually really loved, and people out there, the followers that I have on Twitter, obviously know that I'm not a huge Roman Reigns guy, but the Kevin Owens show started. They had Goldberg come out, Kevin Owens interviewing Goldberg, talking some shit, shit talking. I thought it was great. You have Jericho and Owens. Owens got pretty heated, came back, throwing the furniture, and showed me that fight Owens fight that we've all been missing. We haven't seen since NXT or since his Intercontinental Championship run, and I've missed that fight Owens fight, and that passion and the way he handled himself in that segment really showed me that maybe Kevin Owens could keep the title. I don't know, but Goldberg, talks to Kevin Owens, says he's going to win the Rumble, he's coming after the title. Boom, out comes Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns and Goldberg, that face-to-face. Now, obviously, like I said, I'm not a huge Roman guy, but I am totally 100% behind Roman Reigns versus Goldberg at WrestleMania. I would absolutely love to see that. So, in order for that to happen, though, you'd have to have Roman Reigns win the Universal title at Royal Rumble, and then Goldberg would have to win the Rumble, which, to me, that is the most likely to happen. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. My pick to win the Royal Rumble is my wild card, my dark horse, Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt it's Bray Wyatt's time, and I think he needs a legit title run. If you have Roman Reigns win the Universal title, if Roman wins the Universal title, then that kind of tells you that Goldberg will probably win the Royal Rumble, or they'll have Finn Balor. I've seen a lot of rumors that said The Undertaker might win it. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Undertaker, he's the Phenom. He doesn't need the Royal Rumble to really, propel him to a title shot or a great match. He's the WrestleMania king. So obviously people are going to want to fight him at WrestleMania. Goldberg just came back. He's trying to make his statement. He's trying to, show us that he has one more title run left in him. So if anyone, any of these older veterans are going to win the Rumble, it's going to be Goldberg. But like I said, my pick is Bray Wyatt. Realistically, Bray Wyatt will probably not win it, but as from a fan standpoint, that's who I really want to see it win the most, because I feel like Bray Wyatt's just kind of been stuck in the same routine the past 3 years. And, they had the tag titles. They lost them to American Alpha on Tuesday, which that totally shocked me. But I think right now it's Bray Wyatt's time. I've seen a lot of reports that said it's going to be Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I would be okay with that, but after Bray Wyatt would have to win that. I mean, Bray Wyatt needs a legit solo run. I mean, this guy is so awesome, and he's worked with so many veterans and so many future Hall of Famer, talent, and it's his time. And I think Bray Wyatt will get that in 2017. And so I really hope Bray Wyatt wins the Rumble. But back on the subject of the Reigns and Goldberg face-to-face stare-down, when I was watching Raw, I kind of figured, since Braun Strowman was kind of involved in all these main events and interrupting these main events the last few weeks, sure enough, he came out, he inserted himself into the ring. Braun Strowman is another guy I would not mind winning the Royal Rumble. I think they need to build Braun Strowman up as the next Goldberg/monster. Braun Strowman is a tank. I actually liked his in-ring work, and his match with Sami Zayn, that last man standing match, was kind of proof to the doubters out there that said Braun Strowman can't carry his own, he can't main event a WrestleMania, or he can't be a champion or anything like that. I never thought that was the case. I thought right from the get-go, Braun Strowman was the next, big monster, the next big guy like Big Show or Goldberg. I think Braun Strowman winning the Royal Rumble would be completely okay. I would actually very much appreciate that as a fan, because that's one thing we haven't seen in a while, is WWE really building up the next top guy, the next top big monster, and that would open up so many feuds. It could open up Reigns and Strowman, which that would actually probably be a pretty good feud. I think Braun can bring it in a main event scenario, and I think if he's given the time and the spotlight, he can really deliver. And we all know that Reigns can. He's a big time guy, so they say. I don't see it in him, but that's just me. He's obviously, every time he comes out, he gets the reactions, he gets the Cena treatment, whatever. Reigns deserves to be where he is. Anyway, going back to Goldberg and Reigns face-to-face, Strowman standing there, and that kind of look from Reigns and Goldberg, and they shake their head, they nod their head, and then they double spear Strowman. I thought that was amazing. I think that just builds up so much, momentum for every single person involved in that last segment, even Owens and Jericho, because nobody in that final segment of Raw looked weak at all. I thought that as a whole, Raw was a great show this past week, and in my opinion, I think Raw beat SmackDown this week. And if Raw can keep doing this, I mean, the same matches over and over again, it gets boring. But, Raw as a whole, I think, won the SmackDown versus Raw battle this week. Definitely my pick for show of the week as I move on to SmackDown. There were some really key moments in the show, and the first one that I really want to talk about that's actually really, as a fan, put me on my feet when I saw it, and that was the Dolph Ziggler heel turn. Now, we knew it was inevitable. We knew it was coming a while back, but we didn't know it was going to take this long. Since the brand extension, we've seen Dolph play that kind of underdog role and I can do it, I can overcome anything. After his match with Corbin got disqualified, and Kalisto came out, to help Dolph as Corbin was beating him up. Dolph Ziggler hit Kalisto with a super kick. I think this is honestly one of the best things they could have done for Ziggler. I hated Ziggler's gimmick, that whole 80s glam rock, Shawn Michaels, wannabe, Richard Simmons exercise, instructor. I didn't like it at all. I'm glad. I hope they really do something else with this Ziggler heel turn, because afterwards he went in the back. Apollo Crews, Rhino, Mojo Rawley were all there, and Ziggler actually attacked Apollo Crews. So I love this fierceness that we've seen from Ziggler this past Tuesday, and I really hope WWE kind of gives him a new gimmick and maybe even a new song. I don't know. Just change it up, because Ziggler, I think, he's a top athlete in the business. He's a veteran. He deserves to be, in the top of the SmackDown roster with Cena, Orton, Bray, AJ Styles, Corbin. They all deserve to be there as top guys for SmackDown. And I think the heel turn was the best thing to do for Ziggler's career right now, because I didn't want to see Ziggler go. We all knew his contract was up, and I think this heel turn kind of rejuvenated and will give Ziggler some momentum going forth in 2017. So, and I'm glad he's here to stay. I really did not want to lose Ziggler. I love Ziggler. Every time he comes out, he gets a huge pop. I think even with this heel turn, he'll still get a pretty big pop, because he is the show stealer. He is the guy. He's the man. I love Ziggler, and I hope this heel turn really, really works out for him. All right, so the next thing I want to get to is, can you believe that John Cena and AJ Styles contract signing? Wow. I felt the emotion. I felt the passion from these two. And could you imagine if AJ Styles was with WWE 10 years ago when Cena, around the time Cena came in, 10, 15 years ago? I think Cena and Styles could have had the potential to be like that Hogan and Macho Man, that Rock and Austin, that Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. It could have been that legendary of a feud, I think, if AJ Styles was with WWE for a while, because these two on the mic and in the ring together are absolute magic, and I love watching it. I will watch John Cena versus AJ Styles a million times, and I will never get bored. I love these two. I love John Cena and his passion and what he brings to the WWE, and I love AJ Styles in the ring, because he just brings something new to every match, and he just, to me, is the premier guy. I think he is the best wrestler in the world right now, and I am so excited to see AJ Styles versus John Cena at Royal Rumble. Now, as far as who wins that match, I think it comes down to maybe an Undertaker interference. I think Undertaker interferes, choke slams, or pile drives John Cena, and they take that Undertaker versus John Cena into WrestleMania, because I think they have so much there, and that's one of the biggest matches that we have never seen yet as WWE fans, and I would really love to see that match, and I would welcome it with open arms. As for AJ Styles, though, if that were to happen, that's why I think the winner of the Rumble would be for SmackDown, because I honestly feel like Bray Wyatt versus AJ Styles or Baron Corbin versus AJ Styles would be so great, because I honestly, as a fan, I 100% believe that Undertaker is going to insert himself into this match, chokeslam John Cena, and carry over the John Cena versus Taker at WrestleMania. And that leaves the title opportunity so wide open for SmackDown that the winner of the Royal Rumble has to be on SmackDown. And that's why I believe it's Bray Wyatt or maybe Samoa Joe, because he'll come to SmackDown, or someone that's on SmackDown, because I think Raw, they have so much star power, but they already have so many feuds built, and I think Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania needs to happen. They deserve to show what they really can do. I know it's 20 years later, but obviously the first WrestleMania match between Lesnar and Goldberg was awful. Nobody liked it, and I think Goldberg versus Lesnar at WrestleMania, the hype to that would be outstanding. This match could actually go, longer than obviously the 2 minutes that it went, last time Goldberg took on Lesnar. Now, I don't know who would win. I don't know if they'd have, I think having Lesnar beat Goldberg at WrestleMania, now having Lesnar beat The Undertaker's streak makes sense now. Because after he lost the 2 minutes to Goldberg, I was just sitting there why? And I was why did they have him, end The Undertaker's streak if they're just going to do this and, blah, blah, blah. But if they have Lesnar come back from this and beat Goldberg at WrestleMania, then I will be okay, this is okay, this makes sense, and I'll be completely fine with it. So that's why I think the winner of the Royal Rumble will be a SmackDown live, superstar. During the contract signing of Cena and Styles, Baron Corbin came out and inserted himself into the Rumble and told, Cena and Styles that he's coming after that title. And I love that because I'm so high on Corbin. And even in NXT, I was like, that is one guy that didn't win the NXT championship, but he's going to go to the main roster and he's going to do great things, and he's going to win the WWE championship on the main roster. And I hope I'm right, because I see a lot of potential in Baron Corbin. I love his new entrance theme colors. It's not the same as before. It's more brown and darker, and I love that. And I think if the character they have, the gimmick they have for Corbin right now, is the right gimmick to carry him into 2017, and him inserting himself in the Rumble and kind of showing that it's not just between you, John Cena, and you, AJ Styles. You have myself, and there's a bunch of other guys on SmackDown that are wanting to come after that title, and are going to have to go through John Cena because John Cena said that before. And I do think John Cena will win the WWE Championship. I just don't know when. And I think once John Cena wins the championship, that will be when Baron Corbin takes the title, because John Cena, he likes to put over guys too. I mean, he did it with Kevin Owens. He's done with AJ Styles. And John Cena will not hesitate to put over Baron Corbin. And I think Baron Corbin versus John Cena would be a tremendous feud, a tremendous match from start to finish. And I would welcome that, and I would love to see that. Absolutely adore that. Finally, the main event of SmackDown, which honestly, the main event could have been that contract signing, because that was one of the best contract signings I've ever seen, to be honest. The main event of SmackDown was Dean Ambrose versus The Miz for the Intercontinental title. I honestly did not see The Miz losing the Intercontinental title at all, but Dean Ambrose hit him with the dirty deeds, pinned him 1, 2, 3. Your new Intercontinental Champion, Dean Ambrose. So I don't know where WWE is gonna go from here. I didn't think that the title would change hands. I thought Maurice would interfere, and then they would have a mixed tag team, Dean Ambrose, Renee Young versus Miz and Maurice. I did not expect at all the Miz to lose his Intercontinental Championship, but now that I look at it, I look from a fan's, angle and a realistic angle, the Miz deserves a top feud in the WWE going forward in 2017, and I think having Dean Ambrose, who just lost the WWE Championship, a few months back, be the guy to take the Intercontinental title from Miz is not burying Miz, or is not just going to throw Miz back in the mid card, because Dean Ambrose is a star. When we all know that, the people that don't know that, that don't agree with that are crazy. Dean Ambrose is a star. I'm very high on Dean Ambrose. I think if he was around in the Attitude Era, he would give Stone Cold and all of them a run for their money. But now in the PG era, obviously he doesn't have enough freedom as those guys did back in the day. That's another subject. But having Ambrose win the Intercontinental title off of The Miz, I think, actually, now that I look at it, was a great idea. Because I think The Miz needs to go for a World Heavyweight Championship title run. And at least just a feud. And maybe if you have AJ Styles and The Miz in 2017 for the World Heavyweight Championship, maybe that could be something. Who knows? But I'm so high on The Miz, and the things that he did in 2016 totally rejuvenated his career, and I think that he just etched himself in the WWE Hall of Fame because he brought so much prestige back to the Intercontinental title, and maybe they just had Dean Ambrose beat The Miz for the Intercontinental title because they want Miz to have another WrestleMania moment and beat Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. And maybe they want Miz to be that guy that breaks Chris Jericho's Intercontinental title, a reign with 9. I think Chris Jericho had 9. So maybe they want to give The Miz that 10th title, opportunity, and give Miz his own chapter in the history books, because The Miz, I think, is so special. I mean, you had The Rock and John Cena back at WrestleMania, and who did they throw against them to? They had The Miz. And you can't put just any guy in a feud with, or in a segment with The Rock and John Cena. The Miz. The Miz was thrown in there because The Miz could do it. The Miz can do anything in WWE. He's a great talent. He's great in the ring. I think he's tremendously talented in the ring. And I love watching his matches. His promos are great. Miz TV is awesome. And I think Miz in 2017 needs at least a record for the Intercontinental title or a World Heavyweight Championship title run. Because the Miz obviously has brought so much to the company this year and so much prestige back to that Intercontinental title that the Miz deserves this more than anybody on the main roster. And you want to know why the Miz deserves that? Because he's the Miz, and he's awesome! All right, that's all the time we have today. This episode of Wrestling KOuntry, Wrestling Country. Go give me a follow on Twitter at TurnbuckleTalk5. You know, the handle Wrestling Country. I'm always on Twitter. Love to chat wrestling with any fan or anyone. Come find me. Give me a shout out. I'll give you a shout out. Peace and love all the way. And I'll see you next Sunday.